Greetings, friends. I have had this word burning in my heart for a while now, and I decided today was the day, the 15th of October, Friday, that I was going to share it. It is so good. Okay, so the Lord was speaking to me in a few different ways about, actually for a good couple of months, about discerning the season that you are in and the importance of acknowledging the season that you're in and growing and flourishing in that season. So whatever that looks like, however that comes in a package to each one of us uniquely, to just run with it. Okay, so there's a few pointers that I've made that I just want to remind you that your season that you're in is never ever your final destination. We're going on, we're on a journey, we're on a run, we're on a race. So you may be in a season of intense heartache and hardships and tremendous struggles, financially or relationship wise, or with your kids, or relationship, meaning your spouse, or whatever the case is. That is not your final destination. Okay, so God places different people in our lives, and I've seen this personally throughout, especially the last 3-4 years. God strategically places people in our lives that are on a similar journey, a spiritual journey, or at a similar place in our journey. Sometimes it does happen that there are people that have reached a higher spiritual level, if you will, if you call it something like that, that I believe that the Lord showed me that He placed them there to show us where He's taking us, like to encourage, to inspire, to edify, to build up. And they could last a while, a couple of months, they could last a couple of years, or it could be just a short season, but they are there to show us where the Lord is taking us. So it's no use using that as a self-condemnation to say, oh, but now I've done all this, or where's God's grace? No, His grace is there. You're doing it right. You're standing your ground. You're pushing forward. Carry on. Keep on doing that. Don't back down now because you see someone else's fruit and you compare it to your own. Don't compare, ever. It will damage your identity when we start comparing ourselves to what others are doing or not doing, or the fruit that we are bearing in different seasons. So don't do that. And when God puts two people together, that are on the same spiritual journey, it's usually for a long period of time, good friends of many, many years. You run a good race, a good journey together, and it's an iron sharpens iron. You're there to build each other up, one another up. There's a few friends that have gone throughout in my journey that have come in early, and we were on the same, and we've stuck together. Iron sharpens iron. I know that I can call her anytime. She lives in Vanderbilt Park, but I know that I can call on her anytime for prayer or whatever the case is, and she'll be there for me, even though we don't see each other because I'm living in the Cape and she's up in the Vaal. That's just the same places we were, and that the Lord put us together. So that's very important. I don't want to take too long because there's so much, but Okay, so when we go through a wilderness season, which we all do, always keep in mind while you're in it, and I know it's so difficult when you're in it, it's so difficult sometimes to remind ourselves to keep the joy, to keep praising, to keep the faith, and it gets hard, it gets difficult, it gets tough, it gets lonely. um, Sometimes you get insomnia from it, um, but just keep reminding yourself that this is a season, and there is a breakthrough at the just there, just a little bit, and you've broken through. So try not to be distracted. Try not to be distracted by someone else's fruit, or don't or lack of fruit. So don't be judging. We shouldn't judge. We shouldn't be judging. Whether it's good or bad, acknowledge their good fruit, but don't judge. Okay, so be encouraged, be a friend to someone else, be an inspiration. If you don't have an inspiration, or when you are in a difficult season and you didn't have anyone, then you know that we need inspiration. So you be that person. Okay, so yeah. Okay, let's go on. I want to read some scriptures. Philippians 4 verse 4 says, "Be cheerful with joyous celebrations in every season of life. Let joy overflow, for you have been united with the Anointed One." Come on, Paul is telling us that be cheerful with joyous celebrations in every season of life. So whether it's a good season, a pruning season, or a overflowing abundance season, be joyful with abundance and overflowing joy. For you have been united with the Anointed One. He's saying, if that's all that you hold on to in that season, in a particular time, then you just go with that. Then you just let that be and you know what? You have been united with the Anointed One. That is really all we need to know. There's nothing more precious or more worth knowing, is that we have been united with the Anointed One. Okay, Mark, if you want to write a scripture to go read, Mark 13 verse 33. I didn't write that down, so I've got my notes, so you can go read that one. Then, for even during a season of severe difficulty and tremendous suffering, some of us have really been through that, they have become even more filled with joy. From the depths of their extreme poverty, superabundant joy overflowed into an act of extravagant generosity. I take that. For us. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. Hebrews 10 verse 32 says, "Don't you remember those days right after the light shined in your hearts?" That the time when you got saved, when you got born again. "You endured a great marathon season of suffering hardships, yet you stood your ground." Don't you want to look back on your journey and say that? Hebrews 10 verse 32. And Paul to say that about you. Those days of tremendous suffering and pain and hardships, you endured a great marathon season of suffering hardships, yet you stood your ground. Man, a marathon, that's long. That's like 89 kilometers. I just raced the Argus on Sunday, which was 109 kilometers, but I cycled it, I rode it, so I was on a bike. And that was rough. That was really, really tough. And while I was riding, I actually thought to myself, I'm so glad I'm not a runner. Running a marathon, oh my hat, I can't even. imagine what that must be like, to run with your own like feet and legs, with tackies and running like that. Oh, that seems like a season of suffering in itself. Yet you stood your ground. You stood your ground. You stayed firm and focused and not distracted. And you stayed solidified, grounded. Your foundation was the word of God. And then, oh man. So we need to discern the season that we're in, whether it's pruning or suffering or silence or rest or peace or restoration. Whatever the season is, you need to stop, spend time with the Lord in His presence, and you need to see what season you're in. And once you get to knowing the season that you're in and discerning it, you can then prepare, or you can then realize how the grace of God has prepared you throughout your journey to get to that place. And obviously, if you know anything about gardening or planting a seed, there's different times, there's different seasons, and things, I want to say evolve, develop, progress. So we need to know what season we're in. I was telling Johan at the beginning of the year that we were in a season of, I felt like we were in a season of pruning. And that was so uncomfortable. When you prune a tree, you cut away the dead leaves and the wilted leaves and the ones that are, the branches that are not producing, or that you know are not going to produce, because you can see by the state of it whether it's living or not living, or if it's stealing nutrients from the rest of the plant, that you cut away those things and you prune and you prune. And at the end of the day, you have a much smaller, so it's very much quality over quantity. You have a smaller tree or plant, or you have it looks much smaller because now we've cut away all the dead and decaying and dying bits. But after pruning comes fruit. There comes a season of fruitfulness. It has to change. You can't prune. You can't go into a pruning season for 10 years. You have to, again, evolve, progress, grow. So we have to, with the tools that we've been given, with the place where we are, do our absolute best. Colossians 2 verse 23, I think, or 3 verse 23 says, do everything you do as if unto the Lord. So we have to discern it and then just give it our all. If it's a season of pruning, just prune it all away, man. You help the Lord. Just get rid of some of those things, and it's going to make for a better quality fruit at the end of the day. So I want to leave you guys with this, and I take this. I take this, and I want to just speak it out over you. Song of Songs 2 verse 11 to 13. The season has changed. The bondage of your barren winter has ended. Guys, the season has changed. The bondage of your barren winter has ended, and the season of hiding is over and gone. The rains have soaked the earth and left it bright with blossoming flowers. The season for singing and pruning the vines have arrived. I hear the cooing of doves in our land, filling the air with song to awaken you and guide you forth. Can you hear it? Can you hear the cooing of doves? He has an ear, let him hear. Can you not discern this new day of destiny breaking forth around you? The early signs of my purpose and plans are bursting forth. The budding vines of new life are now blooming everywhere. The fragrance of their flowers whisper, there is change in the air. Arise, my love, my beautiful companion, and run with me to the higher place. For now is the time to arise and come away with me. I say, yes, Lord, yes, I will come away with you. Guys, that's Song of Songs 2, verse 11 to 13. Can you not discern this new day of destiny? He wants us to discern the season that we're in and know that if you're in a season of suffering, of hardships, of a great marathon season of suffering, just carry on going. Keep standing, keep going. Don't be distracted. Don't be thrown completely off because now you are in a different season to the next person, or he's excelling in where he's at. Or I mean, we don't know what people are going through at 1 o'clock when they're lying in their beds and they can't sleep, and that we don't know what people are experiencing and going through. But be that friend to encourage, to motivate, to inspire someone else. Be that iron that sharpens iron, and discern this new day of destiny. It's breaking forth around you. Isaiah 43:19. For behold, I am doing a new thing. Can you not see it with your eyes? It's breaking forth around you. The early signs of my purpose and plans are bursting forth. The blueprint of the Lord is bursting forth around us. And we're sitting and worried about what? The budding vines of new life are now blooming everywhere, and the fragrance of their flowers are whispering, there is change in the air. There is change in the air. Can you hear the cooing of the doves? I pray that blesses you. It blessed me. Love you.